presents a new upcoming class. Stay tuned. Sacred Bonds by Daryl Abdullah Kirk. Yes, Sacred Bonds, navigating the depths of Muslim matrimony and the family. You don't want to miss this one. Please stay tuned. Streaming on all major platforms right here on Sunnahfollowers.net.
In alhamdulillah, wa salat, wa salam ala wa rasulullah. I'd like to welcome everybody to our series entitled The Sacred Bonds of Marriage. The Sacred Bonds of Marriage. And this is based on the book written by one of my students, Brother Abdullah Kirk. And alhamdulillah, this is an excellent book that I encourage every one of you to buy before you even think about getting married. Because in a very eloquent way, he breaks down, first of all, the conditions of marriage, the conditions of a valid marriage, you know, the roles of a wife, the role of a husband. He covers all of that. And now we're into polygamy. And as we've emphasized, I'm going to emphasize it again, polygamy is not an obligation upon any of us. Nowhere does a law say that a man has to have more than one wife, nor does a law say that a woman has to be a part of it either. If your husband came to you and told you that he wanted to take on a second or a third or a fourth wife, you know, you can tell him that you don't want to do that. And if you believe that it's going to be painful for you or compromise your relationship with your Lord, divorce is good and clean. And I have to implement that because a lot of women go into a polygamous marriage, a polygamous relationship, and they don't know what to expect. Number one, they can't handle that type of lifestyle because that lifestyle is so different. That lifestyle is so trying. You have to be at a certain mode of development within yourself. You have to be a woman that is not insecure. You have to be secure within yourself. And you have to be strongly attached to Allah. And I repeat, strongly attached to Allah. And I repeat again, strongly attached to Allah. You know, you can't be one of those weak women. You can't be one of those emotional women. You can't be one of those insecure women, or that type of lifestyle can destroy you. So Allah knows his creation better than we know ourselves. And that's why Allah did not make it an obligation upon anyone. Okay? And that's why divorce is good and clean. You know, if you feel that it's something that can break you as a woman, don't do it. If you feel that your husband cannot be fair, don't do it. If you think that your husband cannot be just, don't do it. If you think that it's going to cause a problem for your children and you, then don't do it. Okay? And just to share with you guys, because we're living in the days of fitan, the days of sex, drugs, rock and roll, those days that our Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told us of, the days in which you live to see adultery, fornication committed by this nation, homosexuality, drugs, alcohol, people not understanding the religion, the Sunnah forgotten by some, the Sunnah abandoned by most. We're living in those days. The days in which the people of this nation will imitate the kafir to the point that if they crawled into a hole, we'll crawl in behind them. So This is something that you really have to, I want to really emphasize to the new shahadas. Believe it or not, if you go to the Muslim countries, you're not going to find that many people who engage in polygamy. Seriously. Most of the men have just one wife. You're not going to find that many men married to 2, 3, or 4. If you go to the Middle East, if you go to Egypt, you're not going to find that much because it's a headache. It's a responsibility. It takes a certain type of man too, just like it takes a certain type of secure woman to fulfill that. It takes an even more secure, strong man. And I'm telling you, dealing with one woman is a trial in and of itself. Dealing with 2, 3, 4, a man can lose his mind and go crazy. And I know a lot of brothers out there, a lot of brothers who are mentally ill, okay, from having 2, 3, 4 wives over and over and over again. So what I mean by over and over and over again, they divorce and marry, divorce and marry. I'm talking marry someone else. So it's not a lifestyle for everyone. And as I emphasized the last class we had, when it comes to anything that we do in our religion, we should always seek the proper knowledge of how to do it. And we should let the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and how he did things be our way of measuring. Okay, the way the Prophet Muhammad practiced polygamy, I don't know that many brothers that practice it the way he did. Like I told you guys, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as he said to the companions, the best of you are those who are good to your wives, and I am the best of all of you. None of the companions were good to their wives like he was. The Prophet Muhammad had more than one wife. He had 11 wives. But did you guys know that he had guidelines that he adhered to? Number one, if it was a woman's night, he did not sleep with any other woman except her on that day and night. How many of you brothers are doing polygamy like that? If it was my night, he did not sleep with any other wife but me for that entire 24 hours. That's different. Also, each wife that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had felt loved. If you were to ask any of his wives, did the Prophet love you? Oh, they'd smile. Yes. He made them all feel special. He made them all feel unique in their own way. And he let them all know that they were needed, desired by him, including Sauda. Okay? So like I say, I don't see that many men who practice it the way the Prophet did and treat their wives like he did. Okay? He was respectable of each and every one of his wives. Okay? He didn't publicly favor one over the other publicly. Okay? He didn't have his wives making unnecessary sacrifices for him. In fact, very few people know this. When the Prophet married a woman, this was part of his marriage contract. Every woman he married had to give up wealth. That's the only thing he required. Every wife he married, Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, tells us that when she married the Prophet, and when any of his wives he married any of his wives, he would tell them, you are marrying a messenger of Allah. You have to denounce your attachment to this world, because all of the prophets' wives came from money. All of his wives were Muslim, number one. All of his wives were beautiful, number two. And all of them were noble. He did not marry a project woman. He did not marry a ghetto woman. All of his wives came from wealthy families. So he told each wife when he married her, you have to denounce your attachment to this dunya, to this world, because I am a messenger of Allah. It's my job to set an example to my followers. And you're going to have to denounce having nice things. So every wife that he married, that was his condition. Are you willing to give up that money, that wealth, and all of that? And of course they agreed. Okay. That's the only request he made of any of his wives. But they all were respected. If it was not a woman's night, he didn't go near her. Whoever's night it was, he made sure to be there. If he went out of town on a journey or on a war exhibition, whoever's night that was, he would make it up to them when he got back immediately. So like I said, most of you brothers are not practicing polygamy the way the prophet did. Most of you women are not in polygamous marriages like his either. Y'all too busy trying to be friends. And that's the first mistake that is always made in polygamous marriages. If you think that you can be friends with another woman who is having relations with your husband, who you think you fooling? The prophet's wives were not friendly with each other like that. They didn't get along with each other. They kept fitna going. It wasn't until after the prophet died that his wives became the best of friends. Okay? So that's one of the first mistakes that many of you women and men make, trying to think that you can be friends with another woman who's married to the same man you have. That doesn't happen. And in Islam, we're not required to do that either. In Islam, you know, when your husband marries another woman, that's his business. It ain't got nothing to do with you. You're not married to her. You have nothing. She's not your sister and wife. There's no sister wife in Islam. This is not the Mormon faith. What goes on in her house is none of your concern. What goes on between her and him is none of your business. And that's a mistake that you brothers make, some of you. Some of you brothers like to come and talk about what goes on with one wife to another. Big mistake. The Prophet Muhammad taught us that any man that goes around talking about what happens in his house to another man got issues. And the same for women that do that. So again, you know, like I say, polygamy is not an easy lifestyle to live. Okay. And it takes a certain type of man and a certain type of woman that can do it. Most of you don't qualify. Sad to say, but it's true. So let's talk about it today. Let's put the PowerPoint up here. Okay. What is this? Oh, the wrong book, wrong PowerPoint. Hold on. I said, didn't we do that class already? Hold on, guys. Wrong PowerPoint. Wait a minute, wrong class. How did I wait? Let me look on this other computer. I got to go through all this thing. Like, didn't I do that already? Hold on. This is Layla doing 10 things at once. So, wait. Okay, here we go. Wrong PowerPoint. Okay, I'm sorry. Here we go. Did it open up? I think it did. Yeah. And by the way, for those of you who have not yet bought the book, this is the book that we're studying from. It's entitled The Sacred Bonds. It's written by my student, Brother Daryl Abdullah Kirk. You can purchase this book. This is how it looks here. Purchase it on Amazon. It's only $13. Yeah, it's only $13. And I highly recommend it for all of you to read before you even think about marrying anyone. And so today we're going to be covering pages 186 through 190 of the book, which speaks about the weight and responsibility of polygamy. And this chapter is geared towards you brothers. You brothers want to take on more than one wife. That's a heavy responsibility. That's a heavy weight to choose for yourself too. The decision to enter into a polygamous relationship is regarded with utmost seriousness and gravity. It's a choice that comes with deep responsibilities that you men must fully understand and be ready to take on. Because polygamy is not about personal desire. It's not about sex. If you just want to have sex with a bunch of women, you should have stayed a kafir. Okay? In Islam, any woman that you marry, you have to provide and maintain her. She is your wife. She is your wife and she is your responsibility. And one of the things that I emphasized last week, and I'm going to emphasize it again today, you are not one big happy family. This is very important. In Islam, if a man takes on more than one wife, he's taken on more families. You are not one big family. If you got 2 wives, you have 2 families to take care of. If you have 3 wives, that means you got 3 families to take care of. If you got 4 wives, you have 4 families, because the women are separate. Their lives are separate. Their lives do not intertwine. My life does not intertwine with hers. Her life does not intertwine with mine. We're separate. We're not together. Everybody understand that? So, in order for a man to fulfill this, not only must he be able to financially or materially support each family, but he has to also give each one of those women who represent a separate family equality, fairness, and respect. And we women have different personalities. We women are not the same. I'm a feisty woman. I am an outgoing woman. I have a strong character. I have a strong personality. That sister over there might be quiet. She might be shy. She might be weak. That one over there might just be laid back, silly. So no 2 women are alike. They're different. But you're going to have to get to know each wife for how she is and treat her with fairness and respect. So that means that as a husband with 4 families, you have to be able to extend emotional support, religious support, and know how to resolve conflicts and be able to manage your time amongst all 4 families, separate and independently. I have to stress that. Separate and independently, because we are not part of the TLC family channel. Islam has guidelines set by Allah in regards to marriage. We don't look at television and look at a scripted TLC show and think that's how it's supposed to be. The sister wife. No. We're separate. Okay? We're not together. No family meetings. None of that crap. So, embarking upon a polygamous relationship in Islam, it necessitates a deep sense of maturity, conscientiousness, and readiness to uphold the principles of justice and compassion as outlined by Allah and exampled. I'm going to add to that, exampled by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Remember, he should be your role model in everything. You are a man. You want your marriages, you want your 4 families to succeed in this world. Then you need to manage all 4 of those families the way the Prophet did his 11. Oh yeah, he outnumbered you. So it's a financial responsibility for you as a man, because you are the breadwinner. In Islam, women don't work. Our job is to take care of the home. Our job is to guard in your absence what you'd have us guard, meaning the house, the children, and what's inside the home. So it's your job to go out and make the money. And you're supposed to be able to provide for each and every one of those families. Because again, we're not one family. We don't live in the same house together. So you can just go and buy food and we all sit here and divide it up. No. Separate. So you have to be able to provide food, clothing, and shelter for all 4 of those families according to their needs. Okay? So food, shelter, clothing, and also let's not forget the medical care. Oh yeah, how many of you brothers got your women on welfare? Mm-hmm. Because you ain't got no job. Hello. Goodbye. All right. That's your job. So it's a big responsibility to take on more than one family. Also, again, you have to be able to be fair in how you treat women. If you are known as being a man that got a problem with women, you don't care for women, you disrespect women, you like to beat up on women, you look down on women, then polygamy ain't for you, bro. Okay? You have to treat all your wives, with respect and kindness. And you have to be just and fair with your time. If you're going to spend 2 days with one wife, it has to be with all of them. You're going to give us all 2 days. Every 2 days, you go to another wife. You can't get mad. Oh, I'm mad at her. I don't want to see her. So I'm just going to go to sister so-and-so. No. Even if you're angry with one of your wives, if it is her night, you have to take your behind to her house. Oh, yeah. And again, the Prophet Muhammad didn't lay. He didn't lay with a woman. He didn't lay with his wives if it was not their night. You see that? Equal treatment. That's the hard thing. It's hard for a man to come home to a woman that he angry with when he got another one there that is looking good and he want to spend time with. Mm-hmm. Equal treatment. That's where we lose it, because most men can't honor that. Most men will take themselves to the wife they not angry at. And that's wrong in Islam. And also, you have to be just with your emotional support too. You have to be able to handle the emotional dynamics of a polygamous relationship. You have to realize that women, the women will get weak. We're emotional. That's the way Allah made us. Allah made women emotional. Okay? You have to be able to know if your wife is going through an insecure time. This wife over here, she's feeling a little bit insecure. So when I go to her on her night, I'm going to treat her special. Okay? And that wife over there, I can see that she's going through some problems with the kids. So on her night, I got to go over there and come at her a different way about, give her some tips on how to handle the children. And then that wife over there, she's into the dawah. She's angry because she got people coming into her stream, harassing her. So I got to come at her on an Islamic level, a higher level than the others. You got to be able to provide the emotional support that each one of those women will need. And they're all different. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Most men don't qualify for this. I'm just going to keep it real. I've been married, been there, done there, and all my marriages were polygamy. They couldn't handle Layla because I needed the emotional support with the dean, dealing with the dawah. They couldn't give it to me. All right? Made me question what they were giving the others. Nothing. Subhanallah. So we have to, if you're going to be a man that it takes on polygamy, you have to not only realize that you have to be able to handle it financially, but you have to also be just with them and know each wife and be able to give her the emotional support that she needs, because we're all different. We all have different needs emotionally. And again, that respect. I don't care how angry you are with a wife. You still have to show respect and kindness towards her. You can't favor one over the other. Allah speaks about that in the Quran. Don't favor one wife over the other. So you're going to spend more time with this wife and not the other. You can't do that. And in order for you to lead one household, more or less 2, 3, or 4, you got to be secure with Allah. How many of you brothers are secure with Allah? How many of you brothers, pray your prayers like you supposed to? How many of you brothers go to the mosque like you supposed to? How many of you brothers know your religion well enough that you can make sure that your wives understand the basics too? And each child that you have from those wives understands it too. You got to be Superman. I'm telling you, you want to practice polygamy, you got to be Superman. And it ain't that many Supermen out there no more. Superman died. The man of steel died. And also, you have to be able to handle conflicts. Conflicts with each wife. Each wife is different, has a different issue. You got to be able to deal with her and her issues separate of the others. That means you ain't going to come here talking to me about what's going on. I don't care to hear what's going on with that wife over there. I don't care. That ain't my business. I need you to help me. Let's talk about how we going to do this website. How we going to get some donations. I don't want to hear about how, the wife over there is going through problems because the baby got the pneumonia. I don't want to hear about that. I'm just giving y'all some examples. It takes a deep man that can do that, guys. And also conflicts with each other. If me and you have a problem, you have to be able to sit down and work that problem out with me. Don't go around holding a grudge against me. That's why the prophet told the companions, don't hate your wife. Because some of those men, the Arabs always did polygamy. Before Islam, they had harems of women. But they would hold grudges against a woman. Oh, I don't like her. I don't like her. She too strong. She too feisty. She too whatever. So they would hold a grudge and not see her, not go near her, and favor one wife over another instead of sitting down resolving the problem. Well, let's sit down with her. Talk to her. Talk about what you don't like. Okay? You have to be able to do that. And also, again, time management. Balance your time between each wife's and each family. Okay? You can't spend too much time with one. Remember the hadith of Aisha, radiallahu anha. She said every night after making Isha, after the prophet would lead the people in prayer for Isha, all the wives, he would make rounds. What does making rounds mean? A lot of brothers thought that meant having sex with them all in one night. Well, Aisha corrected Anas. When Anas said that the prophet made rounds with all his wives in one night, he was a kid. Anas was a 10-year-old kid. He didn't know what was going on. And when he said that, one of the companions said, how did he do it? I don't know. He was a prophet. He had strength. Well, somebody went back and told Aisha, radiallahu anha. This is all in Sahih Bukhari. When Aisha heard that, she laughed. She said, Anas was a little boy. She said the prophet would make rounds with us, but he wasn't having sex with anyone. She said the prophet never had sex with a wife unless it was her night. If it was not her night, he wouldn't have sex with her. She said after the Isha prayer, the prophet would make rounds. No, that's the last part. She said during the day, I forgot. Well, I'm gonna be honest. I forgot I think it's Asr. Yeah, Asr. She said every day after Asr, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would make rounds and check on all his wives. He would go start with the eldest, which was Sauda. Sauda was the eldest. He would start with the eldest to be fair and would make his way down, but he would end with whosever night it was. He would go to their house, knock on the door, and check on them to see if they needed anything. He wasn't having sex with them. He would knock on the door and check on them to see if they needed anything, and to make sure that everybody. Okay, hold on for a second. I got some Instacart going on here. What is this? Yeah, I'll take it. Yes. Rotisserie chicken replacement, Latifa. Oh, what kind of chicken is this? Oh, it's not my kosher. That's why he's replacing it. Is this? It's a leg quarter. I should get 2 probably, huh? Latifa, get 2.
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt to get 2.
Yeah, get 2, please. It's a quarter leg. That's all they got. So I'm going to get 2. Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm making chicken pot pie. Y'all know I cook at 12 o'clock at night. Wait a minute. Let me see what he said. Oh, he said okay. Okay. Chicken pot pie. Homemade. Making my own crust. Okay, so the Aisha said the prophet would go by after Asr, he'd go by each wife's house, starting with the oldest, who in this case was Sauda. And he would check on them, spend a few minutes, not too long. She said he would spend, I would say maybe 30 minutes, just seeing, how they were, how the kids were, if they needed anything. And she said that she was jealous. So every time he would do it, Aisha would look. Her and Hafsa was always counting to see how long he stayed to make sure he wasn't spending too much time. That's why how they got jealous of Zainab, because one day he spent more time with Zainab because Zainab had gotten some honey and she wanted him to taste this honey that she had. And another time he spent a lot of time at Salama's house. And so she asked him, why was you over there with Salama? He said, Salama wasn't home. He said, I was spending time with her daughter because, Salama's daughter became one of the scholars of Islam. But anyway, so she let us know that the Prophet wasn't having relations. When he made rounds with every wife, that wasn't for sex. She said every day he would go and check on each of his wives, and whoever night it was, he would save them for last. Okay. So that's time management. To do polygamy, you have to be able to manage your time. How many of you brothers do that? How many of you make your rounds every night to check on all your families? You got 4 families. You go check on all 4 every day. How many of you do that? And also, as a husband, you have to protect the rights of your children. You have to consider their needs. You have to treat them equally too, even though they may be by different mothers. Maybe you favor this sister over that sister. But you got to treat all the children the same. You can't favor these children over those because you like those kids' mother more. And again, the most important thing about being a husband, even with one wife, is you have to be able to be resilient and nurture emotional resilience. Emotional support is the backbone of any relationship, whether it's polygamy or not. And again, jealousy. Women suffer with jealousy more than men do. Men are jealous too, but women are more jealous. So you're going to have to be able to nurture emotional resilience, when it comes to dealing with each one of your families. Okay? The husband has to also realize that there's more than one person involved. So you're going to have to check yourself. You're going to have to check your actions and weigh your actions as a man against the Quran and Sunnah to make sure that your actions are pleasing to Allah. Remember, guys, for you men that have more than one wife, you will have to stand before Allah on the day of judgment for each one of those families. And if you were not just emotionally, if you were not just financially, if you were not just in your time, you're going to be tip-sided. Okay? And emotional support is needed to maintain the harmony of each household. Also, emotional support is needed to build trust with each wife. Because again, women are going to always think that they're going to always wondering, what are you doing with her? Do you show her more attention than you do me? Do you love her more than you do me? Do you do with me what you do with her? So you're going to have to build trust with each wife. And you're going to have to help them to overcome their jealousy, the way the Prophet helped Aisha radiallahu anha overcome hers, the way he helped Hafsa overcome her anger, the way he helped Salama overcome her jealousy. So that's all. Y'all can see it takes a strong man to make each one of those wives feel secure in her relationship with him. And again, Any marriage, be it polygamous or not, is going to have conflicts. What makes polygamy hard is you can get angry at another woman and then it's my time and you're so angry from whatever happened with that family that you're going to be slacking. You're going to slacken your responsibilities to me. It's a tough dude that can put all that stuff aside and still tend to my needs. Remember, you're going to have to be able to strengthen the bonds of each family unit. Even though you got 2, 3, 4, those children, the children have to all feel loved and feel included and feel respected as well. Those children have to feel that they're not being neglected, that you're not favoring another set of kids over them. You're going to have to assure that everyone's mental health is together. Most men that I know got mental health issues. Seriously. So how are you going to handle my issues, my children's issues, if you can't get yours together? So as you can see, guys, polygamy in Islam is not an easy thing.